Here's a buy signal. Let's just call it that. It's a buy signal, okay? We haven't seen this kind of buy signal since 2020, almost 4 years ago. Last time we had this buy cycle, we did go down a little bit because of COVID crash, but this time we're not going to have a COVID crash. We're just going to go upwards just like 2021, but this time in 2024 and 2025, man, it's going to be glorious with the billions and then trillions that'll be flowing into the space. Spot ETFs, I mean, Fidelity is just like, you know, we're ready. Everyone from every major financial company, they're all saying it's going to come. All these analysts, all these guys that are making predictions, they're all saying it's the first week of January. Every single person is saying that all 12 of spot Bitcoin ETFs are going to get approved in January. That's only 1 month away, guys. You have to compute that in 1 month, we could see billions upon billions upon billions come into the space. In fact, Van Eyck says 1 billion of inflow within the first few days. You know, I'm going to argue because of how poor the U.S. markets are, we're going to see a lot more than 1 billion. I bet all those Wall Street guys that are looking at the red right now, they're like, man, I'm ready to FOMO. I'm ready to put my money into Bitcoin. Maybe I can't buy some Bitcoin, physical Bitcoin, but I could certainly buy Bitcoin spot ETF. So yeah, we're going to get billions, guys. We're right at the cusp of this. And for the very first time in history, we're going to get spot ETFs that's coming in less than a month. And that is why right now, according to Bybit, institutional investors or traders, they have basically doubled because you got a lot of big players now that are paying attention, FOMOing in, and it's not going to change. Just get that in your head. It's only going to get more bullish from here. More bullish, more money, more gains. If you're looking at a hodl wave and you measure the holders, the 2020 holders, the 2020, 2021, and then, you know, crypto winter 2022 and so forth, right? Those are actually the strongest holders. If you look at, this is a little hard to read, but that light green, you see how the big light green on the top? That's the number of holders from 3 to 5 years ago. So approximately that 2020 time. And you could see, man, very, very strong. Actually, it's that it's actually the 2 to 3 years, not the 3 to 5. 3 to 5 years is actually the deeper green. It's the 2 to 3 years. So those of you guys that came into this space right during the last bull run in 2021, you guys are actually the strongest holders. Most of the hodl wave is comprised of people from 2 to 3 years ago. And it kind of makes sense because most of you guys started watching me and started to understand that Bitcoin is meant to be held and not traded. I was kidding about that. I don't know if most people were watching me, but you guys get my point. More and more people started to learn about inflation, about all the bad macro stuff, and people started learning more about Bitcoin. That's why their conviction and faith in Bitcoin is so strong. Something else that's very positive for the very first time, a golden cross is going to happen. Yes, a golden cross on the weekly. According to Mags, this has never, ever, ever happened in Bitcoin's history. We had a few things that never, ever happened before, like Bitcoin breaking below the 200 moving average, but then we broke above it, and now we're getting that huge golden cross, which is, of course, a big catalyst. That is fantastic. We just got so many fantastic things, guys. I don't know if you've been paying attention, okay? Hopefully you have been, because there's a lot of fantastic things from a TA perspective. That looks like a very, very bullish flag that's forming right now. And that's going to drive us to where? 48,000 next. And then we're at 48,000. Is 50,000 far-fetched? No. That is what it's looking like. We're about to break out once again. Even from a technical perspective, it's looking pretty darn good. There is this Mr. 4 million. That's his new name. Someone that's been buying $4 million worth of Bitcoin every single day. Think about that, being able to buy $4 million worth of Bitcoin every single day. This might be Michael Saylor's personal account. You know, we always talk about Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy and what they're doing. You know, years ago, he already admitted he had like 20,000 something Bitcoin himself. This could be his DCA account. He's just adding $4 million every single day now. We don't know. Or maybe it's Larry Fink's account. It's someone's account. Someone is buying $4 million worth of Bitcoin. That's a lot. I wish I could buy $4 million Bitcoin every single day. Right now, we are rallying like 2016. You know, history doesn't repeat, but they tend to rhyme. And right now, it's rhyming a lot like the 2016 cycle. You could see the top going to the bottom. We had a capitulation stage. Then we had a pretty good rally. And we're following 2016 into 2017. We started a year in 2017 at about $1,000. And then we shot up 20x to $20,000. We may start 2024 at 50,000. So obviously much higher, 50x higher than just 7 years ago. Just think about it. 50x higher from 7 years ago. Where were you 7 years ago? Probably in the same house, having the same job, hanging out with the kids. It wasn't that long ago, 7 years ago, you could have bought Bitcoin at $1,000. But going into 2024, we may be at $50,000. Are we going to go up 20x and go to $1 million by the end of 2024? Probably not. Probably not. But we could certainly do another 2x, 3x, since we're having the halving event and spot Bitcoin ETF approvals and everything else in between. Qatar throwing $500 billion into the market. You got rate cuts coming up. You got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. So 2024 could be even better than 2023. So we'll see. But it's really rhyming. It's really, really rhyming right now. Approximately in April, the next halving event, this could be when Bitcoin is at 6 figures at $100,000. And the reason why I say that is because in January, we're going to get spot Bitcoin ETF approvals. If we don't, I would say, well, then, you know, I don't think we're going to get 100,000 by April. But after spot ETFs, I don't know what's going to happen. If we're going to get tens to hundreds of billions coming in, well, that's going to make a huge difference. If we end the year at 50,000 already, think about it. We're at 44,000. Ending the year at 50,000 is very reasonable. It's not far-fetched at all. And if we end the year at 55,000, then we get spot ETF approvals. That's going to drive our 50,000 into probably the 70,000s. And it could just keep on going. So from 70,000, from January 70,000 to April to 100,000, I don't think that's unreasonable. It could happen. A little far-fetched, but it can happen. There's a chance. So think about it. Even if you are DCAing Bitcoin right now, you could be more than doubling that by April of 2024. Even if it doesn't, even if we're at 80,000, we're above and formed a new high. That's still phenomenal. Just think about it.